Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And Bitcoin is looking better than ever. Now, that's not completely true, but Bitcoin right now is looking extremely good. We right now are an extremely important resistance point. And you have to understand that the moment that Bitcoin crosses, a lot of our favorite altcoins are also going to be going on a pretty significant rally. Again, nobody is sure that Bitcoin is going to cross this level, but we're preparing for it. And today was a pretty good day on the stock market side. You can see for yourself right here, S&P up 1%, NASDAQ up 1.6%, and vice versa, or I guess a connection to that. Bitcoin is up roughly 1.3% today. And as I've stated earlier, $500 is the most important hurdle to get over. I believe the moment that we do, that we're in a little bit of a bull market type of period. Even though I cannot state that the bull market is back yet, as we don't know whether or not there's going to be an even heavier pullback soon, I am preparing for bullish times again, as it's been an extremely long time in the bear market already. Of course, it can be longer, don't get me wrong, but it's not like those analysts were saying like half a year ago, 9 months ago, oh, Bitcoin is now really bottomed out. We've seen a bottom a couple of months ago, and even though we can indeed go even lower, if the stock market goes up, there's a very good chance that Bitcoin is just going to pick it right back up as well. And so that's something you guys need to get in the back of your head. Even though Bitcoin does or has shown to work in cycles, mostly coinciding with the halving cycles, it's also partially based upon the major movement of the US indices. For example, by just taking a look at the S&P 500, for example, you can see that it was on a pretty big rush ever since March of 2020, and it kind of ended at the end of 2022. If we then take a look at Bitcoin, you can see, wow, it was on a pretty good rush from the beginning of March 2020, and it realistically ended roughly here at the beginning of November of, again, 2021. So a month off, but the idea is pretty simple to follow, I'd say. And even though the S&P has percentage-wise fallen a lot less, from 4,700 to roughly 4,000 points or US dollars, and Bitcoin from about 69,000 to roughly $20,000, I think it still is easy to kind of see how the S&P and Bitcoin have some similar sort of significant dips where a slight recovery happens afterwards, but that nobody's able to know what's going to happen next in terms of whether or not we're going to see a dip like we saw in 2020, or if this is basically the January or whatever of 2019, for example, where the biggest dips are already behind us and right now things are changing over. Or if we want to compare to 2020, that right now we are in the May of 2020 or the April of 2020, where again the biggest dips are behind us and things are going to start moving up from here. You have to understand as well, before we're at a peak, it could still take a significant amount of time. Here, the biggest bottom over the last couple of years was March 2020. And if we take a look at the biggest peak for Bitcoin, again, March 2020. And if we take a look at the biggest peak, that was the beginning of November 2021. So about a year and a half before we hit the highest peak. If right now the bottom was at the middle point of November, for example, we could still be 1.5 years further before we actually hit another higher Bitcoin peak. So don't think that the bottom is in means we're at the top of Bitcoin instantly. It just means we might just not go lower from this point out forward. We might go sideways with a slightly upwards bias. Anyway, like I said, we're all watching the $21.5 thousand Bitcoin level. Right now, we're actually potentially already going to cross it. It is looking like it. Again, for XRP, things are looking extremely bullish, extremely good right now as well. The moment that we get above 40 cents and actually get ourselves a confirming candle is the moment that we break out of this multi-month, almost like yearly low period for XRP, and many have laughed at it, but that would finally be some movement again, which has been months and months and months since we've seen that. So that would be extremely exciting. And again, like we said, for Bitcoin, we right now are facing some major resistance. All we need is to cross this level to finally get a bullish shift for Bitcoin, and that could really ignite a lot of bullish momentum for altcoins. And well, most likely, as I said before, I'm expecting the rally to continue easily towards $24.5 or so thousand towards the weekly 200 weekly moving average. But fun fact, there's also guys like JP Morgan, for example. And actually, guys, before we move on, if you've not pressed that like button yet, please do so. I'm trying to get this video to at least 500 likes. Not sure it's going to be possible, but guys, just please try helping out by pressing that like button, as it helps these videos get a little bit more reach, and that would be pretty damn awesome. But also, if you're still looking for a crypto exchange, make sure you check out Bybit. There's a link down below, or potentially BitGet, also a link down below for that, as these exchanges basically give out crazy bonuses at no cost to you. For example, with Bybit right now, up to $30,000 worth of free trading money, which is a deposit bonus, meaning the more you enter the platform with, the more of a gift you basically get. These are completely real and very easy to handle, I'd say. It's just a couple of different clicks. Just once you've made an account, go to the rewards tab and everything will speak for itself. Again, it is very simple, and whenever I look for a new trading platform, obviously I meet up with the founders, I check if they're all cool. But yeah, a good part of what I look at is also the best bonuses, because in my own opinion, every trading bonus that you get is completely free money, but that's all besides the point. Just check it out. A link is down below. And there's also links to NordVPN and Ledger. Just get yourself a NordVPN, just a VPN in general, best for internet security. It's just something that everybody needs, but a lot of people think like, oh no, I don't need one. You need one. It's worth it. It's really worth it to keep your browsing safe. And a Ledger, that's debatable. Not everybody needs a Ledger in my opinion. It depends on how much money you have in crypto and where you're storing it now, and whether or not your home situation or your storage situation is safe enough. If you're, for example, living with 6 dudes in a basement, might not be that smart to get a Ledger because you're gonna have to store it somewhere. And the same thing goes for if you're moving all the time, it might not be the wisest decision. But if you're a homeowner, for example, with you and your family, or you have your own room in a home, or you have a solid bank where you can go and get a safety deposit box or something, or you have a vault somewhere, this is definitely something worth looking into, because you can store your crypto on your device and they can never take it away from you. It's important people understand this. Crypto is from the essence meant to never be able to be taken away from you. And so when you keep all your money on like your phone, on some sort of MetaMask, for example, you're doing an homage to it, right? You're doing okay. But if you're keeping everything on some sort of exchange, like a Binance, where you don't trade it, you don't do anything with it, just hold it there, yeah, that's not that smart. If you're trading it, don't listen to this because, well, you're putting your money to use. But if you're just keeping it safe right there, it's not as safe as it could be. So again, if you're trading, different story. If you're just hodling it, depending on how much money you have, might be worth to look into one. I digress. JP Morgan CEO, Jamie Dimon, calls Bitcoin a pet rock Ponzi. Jamie Dimon discussed Bitcoin at sidelines of the WEF's annual summit in Davos. This is not the first time Dimon has criticized Bitcoin, and JP Morgan still offers crypto services to its institutional investors, and that's the fun thing. You know, these guys keep going all over the place. It really is pretty hard to put a pin in it into what exactly they think, as in the company they have multiple different analysts, and regardless of what they think about it, they know they can make money with it. And here was a fun thing. The banker said, how do you know it's going to stop at 21 million? Everyone says that, well, maybe it's going to get to 21 million and Satoshi's picture is going to come up and laugh at you all. He declared in 2021, I personally think that Bitcoin is worthless. In 2018, Dimon argued, I didn't want to be the spokesman against Bitcoin. I really don't care. That's the point, okay? In September 2017, he referred to Bitcoin as a hoax. Now, in a recent interview with Fox, very recently, even though this is CNBC, the Wall Street boss called crypto a decentralized Ponzi scheme that has hurt many people. And he said, I called it a decentralized Ponzi scheme because people were just hyping it, and they'll write tons of books on this, the money that was stolen out of it, what people knew and didn't know. So yeah, he's basically a negative Nancy. But then again, you have to understand that the banker's worst nightmare is that people go and love decentralized finance, because that would mean that nobody really needs a bank anymore. If everybody were to self-custody, like I just told you guys about with Ledger, you think banks would be very happy with that? Most of my friends don't really use a bank account. I guess I'm an odd one since I little bit use a bank account for some stuff. But seriously, people with hundreds of millions of dollars, guys, let's say 300, 400, 500 million dollars, don't use bank accounts. Can you imagine that for a second? Okay, maybe now crypto bear market, maybe $200 million, but pick a number. Just very wealthy people, and they don't touch banks. Why? Because again, something can happen to your money. People might ask questions. People might this, that. If you control your own money, nobody's going to be able to do anything against you. You can do with it as you please. You can withdraw whenever you please. You can send it whenever you please. Like I said earlier, many people don't know this, but trust me, putting $1 million into a bank or taking it out of a bank, both of them are extremely difficult. If you have $1 million cash right now, just because you made a deal, you sold your house and you wanted the cash, sure, let's just do that. You have it in a box. Good luck getting the bank to accept it. Just for fun. You might ask, why? Because it's a safety hazard. So most banks are going to be like, we don't want to keep $1 million cash right here like this, especially not with you bringing it in. They're going to get all nervous. Vice versa, if you want to take $1 million out, oh my days, the question list you're going to get, is going to be severe unless you're somebody with that high of a net worth where it's like, oh, okay, sure, no problem. You know, some people I guess are different, but most of the time they're going to have a lot of questions and they kind of don't want to give it to you because, well, that's not so good for the bank. With your own crypto, nobody's going to be able to do anything against you. So to get back to this little point, this is possible that Satoshi would at 21 million come and just show a big picture of something funny. It's possible, but I'm not exactly sure if that would make a lot of sense. If you guys think about it, regardless of what you think about Satoshi, in every way, shape, or form, the worst thing that this entity could do is make a big joke out of it. It was created in the big recession to basically combat the current financial system. Who was it? It could be the CIA, who knows? It could just be a group, it could just be one person who's dead, it could be anything. But regardless of what entity it is, right? Let's say it is a government agency. The worst thing they could do is then let it blow up in that sense and make no money out of it, but just make a joke out of it, right? The best thing they could do is then just keep the charade going and let that 1 million Bitcoin that they didn't have turn into extremely much money before, you know, starting some sort of plan. Anyway, getting to 21 million Bitcoin is going to take an extremely long amount of time anyway, right? If ever. And if it's an individual, why would they throw away, first of all, so much money, but second of all, everything that they built for the joke? Biggest joke of the century? In that sense, you could also say, what if the Federal Reserve all of a sudden decides to this or that? Or what if all of a sudden the American government decides to do this to whatever, pick a country, to China? Yeah, anything crazy like that could happen every single day. I don't worry about those hypotheticals, those crazy things. What if Apple all of a sudden decides they're going to be creating their own currency and everybody should use it if they want to use an iPhone? Yeah, sure, it's possible. Okay, next question. Because who cares about this? Supposedly, as of this point, the 21st million Bitcoin is going to be mined in 2140. Yeah, I'm going to be long dead by that time. And in theory, it could even be so that we never actually hit that point. But the closer we get towards that, the more discussions we'll have to face about that. It's going to be rather interesting, for example, what's going to happen to all the fees. But, I mean, we're talking about 2100 plus in terms of years. I don't worry about that too much right now, guys. Having said that, there's negative Nancy's and they will always stay here. JP Morgan, the company, they are facilitating crypto stuff because they know there's money to be made and they know that the institutional clients are getting bigger and bigger in it. Jamie Dimon's livelihood depends on people not trusting it, which is why he has to go against his gut, you know? If really he thought it was a scam, you think JP Morgan would facilitate transfers with it? No. This guy, if he just really said, it's really a scam, so we're letting our clients trade it, you think people would take him seriously? It's like, for example, with BitConnect. JP Morgan is looking at BitConnect saying, I should say Jamie Dimon is looking at BitConnect saying, oh, it's for sure a scam. Look at it. It's a Ponzi scheme, literally. Anyway, here's our sign up link. It would be extremely strange, right? So that's the way I think about it. Yeah, that was it for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe to the channel so you guys get another crypto video tomorrow.